Hello everyone, welcome to another video. It is me, Desiree, and it is time. It is finally time to do a check-in on my big grocery store haul. So I put up a video about 4 months ago. I can't believe it's been 4 months. I kept thinking it had only been like 1 month, and I looked at the date recently. I can't believe it's been 4 months since I bought these plants. Anyway, I put up a grocery store haul 4 months ago, and I showed you all of the plants that I found like really good deals. All of them were $6.99 for the most part. There were a couple that were a little more. I'll show you those as well. But for the most part, all of them were $6.99. I had so much fun driving store to store to store, buying up all the plants. And today we're doing a little check-in. So I'm going to show you all of the plants and how they're doing. We're going to start with the ones that have already died. Then we'll move on to the ones I kind of regret buying, and then we'll talk about everything else that I love. So actually only one plant has perished, and it was one that I felt really bad about, and I still feel bad about. It was the tillandsia xerographica, the air plant. It was this big, beautiful thing. I found it on clearance. It was half off, and I just knew I was going to instinctively know how to take care of it. And I didn't. I did all kinds of research. I watched all kinds of YouTube videos, and I thought I was going to get the care down correctly. But I think what went wrong with that plant was that I either watered it too often, or I wasn't drying it out enough. Like, I had it upside down so the water wasn't sitting in the crown of the plant, but I feel like I probably should have put it in front of a fan or something to dry it off, because the leaves were looking dry but also rotten on the inside, like by the crown, and it just, you know, the leaves were falling off left and right, and then before you know it, it was moldy and it just was beyond repair. So that plant, I actually feel so sad about it. I don't know why. There are some plants that sometimes I'm like, why won't you just die already? Or plants I just, you know, throw out into the yard. But then there are plants like that one that I'm like, no, not my air plant. But poor thing perished. I would love to get another one, but I think I'll start with those small ones, because it was just, you know, I don't want to have a big plant like that that's usually over $30 die again, you know what I mean? So that's the only one that didn't make it. So let's move on to the ones I kind of regret buying. So the first one is this Syngonium. It's called a Confetti Syngonium. And I just did a video on this. Well, I filmed it at the beginning of the month, but I just put it up, where I repotted this into this pot. I was just trying to make myself love it. And although it looks better in here, the plant is not doing any better. It's called Confetti because it has these really cute little pink confetti-like specks on the leaves. But so many of the leaves just turn yellow so quickly, and I don't know. I know it looks like it's in too big of a pot, but it had a really big root thing in here, so it's in an adequately sized pot, I think. It's putting out new leaves, and they still have the confetti speckles on them, but I don't know. I just don't think I love Syngonium as much as I used to, or as much as I thought I did. You know what? In my Q&A video, someone asked what plant genus would I be good never buying from again, and I kind of think it's probably Syngonium. Although they're cool and they look cool, and there's some other varieties that are really awesome, I think the arrowhead one is one I could easily never buy again and be perfectly fine. I don't know. It's just not that cool. I have a feeling it's just going to slowly decline until I get rid of it, but I'll hold on to it because I do like the way it looks, but it's not my favorite from the haul. And then the other one I regret buying is this. This is a red Vein Maranta. I'm sure you guys have seen this plant before. It's called red vein because it has red veins. And I love Maranta a lot. I have some green one, I have some variegated one, I have a different one, I have 2 of these ones. And the reason I regret buying this so much is because I already have one. I already have a hanging basket of this. But I bought this, like I buy a lot of my plants, on impulse. And when I saw it, I just was taken by it. I was like, oh my God, that's the biggest red vein Maranta I've ever seen. It'd be different if it was the lemon lime. That one I know I would have loved, but there's just something about this one that I've kind of fallen a little bit out of love with. I don't know if it's the green and the red together or what it is, but it's also too big. I couldn't find anywhere to put it, and I just really do regret buying it. And now that I've done a no buy for this whole month, or almost for the whole month so far, I mean, the month's not over, but I don't see myself breaking it. I feel like I will take that extra little, like, do I really need that? Do I need that? Am I gonna have a spot for it? And this is one that I really feel that way about. Like, I don't know, it's cool, but I really didn't need it. And that's it. Those are the only two that I regret buying. Everything else is doing well, so I'm just gonna start showing them to you. Okay, I have gathered all of the troops here, all over the desk and all over the floor. But the first one here is, I forgot the name of this. I think one of you left me a comment saying the name of this. I'm just gonna call it the Fuzzy Calathea. I did just repot this in a video into this little, I don't know, ceramic kind of pot. It was still in the nursery pot. The roots were crawling all out the bottom. I needed to water it every 2 to 3 days because it would just dry out. But it's doing really well. I'm super happy with this, and I feel like I'm gonna jinx it by saying this, but it's doing so well, and it's very easy for a Calathea. I don't know if it's just the fuzziness on the leaves, but this one, even though I've let it get dry as a bone, it's still doing really well. It bounces back really nicely. I kind of have been keeping up on the watering on it, so I'm not letting it get dry like that anymore. But it's a good plant. I like it a lot, and I can't believe I found this really big one for $6.99. Definitely one of my favorites, absolute favorites of the haul. I love it so much. More than I thought I was going to. Another one of my absolute favorites is this. This is a variegated ginger plant. And I think I mentioned this in the video that I did called Plants I Won't Shut Up About or something, like a recent video. This plant is doing so well. It's grown this whole thing right here. And I don't know if it's called a ginger plant because that's just like the name, or if it's actually a ginger plant, like it'll grow a ginger under here. But I'm sure it would take a really long time for it to grow that anyway. But I love this plant so much. I just love the way that it's growing. It has these really nice elongated leaves with this little bit of yellow variegation on there. I love everything about this plant. I think it's so beautiful. It just grows and grows and grows. $6.99, can't go wrong. There is one leaf on here though, this one, that has been like a new leaf for a really long time, and it hasn't hardened off. It's still super soft, but it's doing fine. This one does great if I let it get all the way dry, but it does get a little bit of dry tips. And I've always kind of just assumed that when you let the plant stay dry for too long and you start getting crispy tips, it's because the plant starts pulling moisture from the leaves to the roots. So I try not to let it get all the way dry, but it seems to bounce back pretty well even when I do. I love this one. This is definitely one of my favorites from the haul as well. I just love it. I just love this leaf shape and the little streaks of yellow on the leaves. Love it so much. Another one that's my favorite is the Alocasia Cuprea. So in that video, the plant probably looks exactly the same to you because it had this one leaf on it when I got it, or it had 2 leaves, I think. I don't know. But anyway, all of the leaves fell off, and I actually showed this leaf in my April Fool's video, my March favorites. I showed this leaf all rotten and was talking about how I loved it. But the leaf, I ended up cutting the leaf off, but it had a tiny little nub of growth here, so I kind of just left it on the table and was watering it like normal, and this leaf grew, and I can't believe it. Like, isn't this the coolest thing you've ever seen? Like, look at all that nuance. It's just so dynamic. I absolutely love this leaf, love this plant. I'm hoping it grows another one, but who knows, maybe this summer with like the nice bright light it'll do really well. Of course, I'm gonna say this is one of my favorites. Love this one so much. And I look at this leaf every day and I just want to come and touch it. Like, it's so beautiful. This one is a Ficus Altissima. I wrote that down. And when I got this, it was very crooked, so I repotted it and was able to kind of fix it. It was like off to the side like this. I love that this is just one long trunk with all of the leaves here at the top. I think it's so cool. This is the second ficus like this that I've ever had. The first one turned into just 2 sticks. Like, no joke, all of the leaves fell off and it was just the stick, but it was like this tall. It was 2 of them. And I had it outside during last summer, and I was outside looking at all the plants I had on the shelf, and I was holding it, and my boyfriend it was just like the perfect timing. My boyfriend came out as I was holding this plant and he goes, "What is that?" And I go, "My ficus." But it was just 2 bald sticks. It was the funniest thing. We always joke about it now. But I am determined not to let this one have the same fate as that one. It did grow one whole leaf here, but I am kind of struggling on when I'm supposed to water this. I'm kind of thinking you're not supposed to let it get all the way dry, because that's what I did. The plant got really limp. and the new leaf fell off right away. But it's growing another one, so I'm gonna try to stay on top of it this time because this looks really cool. I like the way it looks with just this long stick and all the leaves at the top. And that was how I bought it. They didn't have any leaves here that fell off or anything. But it's doing well-ish. I don't know. I love it anyway, and I'm gonna try to stay on top of that one. The next one is this. I think this is a watermelon pepperomia. I mean, it looks like a watermelon pepperomia, but it's a little different than the one that has like the red stems. But I think it's probably the same name. This one has grown out a lot since I got it. When I first got it, it was very compact in the planter, and it looked so cool. I just loved touching it like this. But of course, it's been growing out, growing tall, and it's cool. The leaves do stay a little bit bent like this. They don't get super flat. Some of them do, like this one here, but a lot of it has stayed kind of rolled up and curled up on itself. But I think it looks pretty cool like that. This one, I do wait till it gets dry all the way, and I wait till the leaves are a little less hard. They should feel really, really firm when it's well hydrated, but I wait for this one to kind of get a little bit limp and a little just less firm than it's used to, or than it usually is, and then I water it. And so far it's done really well with that kind of care, and I like this one a lot. It looks really cool. I love this beautiful pattern on the leaves there, and I have never seen this plant again since I bought it there too. We're gonna end with my favorite. I know I said all these are my favorite, but there's one that was a wish list plant that I can't believe I found. We're gonna end with that one. Not yet though, I got a couple more to show you. What are you doing? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and show you this one because I had it on the floor there and I could hear my cat trying to take nibbles of it. And I don't think Syngonium is okay for cats. Anyway, this is a big old Syngonium Maria. This one was not $6.99, but it's in one of these live trends pots, so I feel like it was $12.99. Usually they're $12.99, these big old hanging baskets. And this one just looks like a big shrub, doesn't it? It's so big and full. I love this plant a lot. I rarely see Syngoniums this full, or at least where I live. Did I say this was Syngonium Maria? It's so funny, I just said I could easily go without Syngonium, and then I'm like, oh my god, I love this one. I don't know, I could change my mind, right? Anyway, I have had this one before in a smaller pot. It's no longer with us. So when I saw this big, giant, full one, I just couldn't resist it. I do want to repot it just because I don't like these colors together. But again, I would have to put it in plastic unless I want it to kind of be really heavy with like a clay or ceramic or something like that. This plant is a trooper. I do let this one get all the way dry, and I probably shouldn't. It'll just get so limp, and I just put it in the sink, water it, and it'll perk right back up. Some of the leaves, you know, when you have a Syngonium really big, some of the leaves are gonna kind of get crusty that are in there. But I give it a little bit of a groom, and it does really, really well. I love this one a lot, and I do not regret buying it. Although it was kind of big and I had to like make room for it, it's doing really well where it's at, and yeah, doing good. Now I gotta hide it from my cat. Okay, we have two more, and then we'll end with my favorite one. So this was, or is, a Calathea, not a Calathea, a Caladium called Hilo Beauty. And this is a plant that I have owned before. I think I had one last year. It got spider mites, and I learned my lesson with this. So I like to use Captain Jack's insecticidal soap on spider mites. It works like a charm. It's so good. But I don't usually rinse it off. And with these super paper thin leaves, I do rinse it off. So I did a video earlier this month showing how I treat all my alocasia for spider mites. And I did spray this one as well with the same stuff, wiped it down, cleaned it off, and I left it just for a few minutes. And then I sprayed it down so that way the insecticidal soap wouldn't burn the leaves. Because last year, it just like the leaves were crumbled up like this. It died so fast. Anyway, this plant is doing really well, but it seems to put out a leaf and then kill off a leaf. Or it's just the way that it is in my house, I don't know. It did just put out this one. This is the new leaf. I mean, look how cool that is. Really nice, kind of cool looking camouflage. And Caladium is super, super thin, and they're not delicate, like they're not gonna break or anything if you touch them, but they're really, really, really thin. They're kind of like a really cool texture. And then this leaf over here just looking kind of limp. I think because this one needed water, I watered it just now. The water's just kind of sitting in here soaking up. But yeah, this one's really cool. I love this one. I always have to resist the urge to buy another one when I see them, because I do see these there still all the time for $6.99. They're beautiful, they're big, and yeah, I love that plant a lot. The next one on the list was a snake plant that I got for $12.99. It's a huge snake plant. I'll have to just insert a video here for you because I'm not going to bring it in here. Or you could imagine I'm holding it like this. This is my big snake plant. I'm just kidding. Anyway, it's really, really tall. It's doing super well. I ended up buying one for my grandma as well. The only thing is with that snake plant, I haven't been brave enough to water it. My grandma was brave enough. She watered hers, but I haven't been able to water it. I don't know what it is. It seems like it's doing okay. It feels good. The soil is dry. It's in a lower light situation, so I don't know. I think it's gonna be okay without the water, but it's been obviously 4 months and I haven't watered it yet. Should I give it some water? What do you think? It's really tall, it's big, it has a big planter. My grandma watered hers and it's perfectly fine. And I wanna say we have similar lighting in our living rooms, in our front room. So yeah, I haven't watered it yet, but it's doing good and I love it. I moved it to a new spot and I love where it's at now. And the last one, the one I was so excited about, I saw this plant there a couple more times and I had to resist the urge to buy it again because I don't need 2 of them. Do I? I might need 2 of them. This is the Syngonium wendlandii. Syngonium wendlandii. Like that's, what a fun name to say. Wendlandii. I love this plant and this was on the wish list in my heart. And when I saw it there, I had a heart attack. Like I was just looking around and I went, oh, I never thought I would see this plant in real life, at least where I live. It's also called the velvet Syngonium. I don't really feel velvet on these leaves all that much. It does feel different than the typical Syngonium, but I don't know. I don't really feel like it's velvety, but it's beautiful either way. Like look at this beautiful leaf shape. Again, I just said earlier I could easily go without Syngonium, but this is one of my favorite plants that I own. So change my mind. I have to live with Syngonium. Anyway, it's beautiful. So far it's doing really, really well. You can see which way the window is because it's leaning as a whole little plant body that way to reach the window. I don't let this one get all the way dry because with the other Syngonium, obviously the leaves get really dry right away. And I guess I just care about this one a little bit more than the other ones, so I stay on top of this one a lot. I absolutely adore this plant. So if you want a Syngonium wendlandii, check out your Smiths. That's where I found all of these. Smiths or Kroger or whatever. They're called something different every region. But check out your grocery stores. You're gonna miss out on some really good deals if you usually skip over the plant section. It's my favorite thing. I go to the grocery store. It's where I beeline to the plant section first, and then I go get the food I wanted. But yeah, favorite plant of the haul right here. Love it so much. But that is it. That is my big 4-month update on all the plants I bought at the grocery store. Some hits, some misses, some regrets, and something already perished, but you can't win them all. But anyway, that is it. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite plant I showed? Let me know your care tips, of course, in the comments. I love when we all kind of learn from each other. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I will see you later in another video. Goodbye.